the use of aluminum, why do they use aluminum? People ask that question. And this is stated on the record, again, it's in the Geo-Engineering patents, solar radiation management. Aluminum is very reflective, and that is the goal of solar radiation management, to reflect some of the sun's incoming thermal energy. So the stated goal by some of the world's most recognized geoengineers is to put 20 million tons. That's a lot. That's about 1,000 tankers a day, fully loaded KC-135s with 60 plus tons each. So 20 million tons a year of aluminum nanoparticulates. It's important people understand that term. These are extremely small particles. In fact, they're exponentially smaller than anything that any air quality public testing agency tests for. So these particulates go completely under the radar. People always ask, well, if this was coming down, air quality agencies would tell us. Absolute nonsense. The system is designed not to show these particulates. So at best, air quality agencies test for PM 2.5 microns. We're talking about particles that are, again, exponentially smaller. The smaller the particle, the more harmful it is to the human body. So these particles are so small. And we have, and by the way, we're not shooting from the hip on any of this. All of this data is absolutely documented by global experts. In the case of how harmful these particulates are to the human body, internationally recognized neuroscientist Dr. Russell Blaylock has stated on the record that these particles are so small they enter right through the lung lining, straight into the bloodstream, where they adhere to cell receptors like a plaque. Therefore, everything that we would recognize associated with this material, every ailment is going off the charts. ALS, Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, type 2 diabetes, obesity, the list goes on and on and on. And as far as the connection with aluminum, this is where it becomes more astounding, Dr. Manning. I was just refused the opportunity to sponsor the Alzheimer's Association fundraising event in Northern California, big event. They allow anybody to sponsor that pays, but they wouldn't allow me to sponsor because of our site and because we wanted to disclose the fact that aluminum is associated with Alzheimer's with peer-reviewed scientific study. But the Alzheimer's Association does not want to talk about that. In fact, their official position is that they recognize no connection between aluminum and Alzheimer's. And how interesting is this? We now know that there is sponsorship from the aluminum industry toward the Alzheimer's Association. What a surprise. You have the foxes running the henhouse.
Decrease of agriculture is something I worry about even more than the previous info about autism and Alzheimer's.
Believe me, I'm seriously concerned with what I'm watching. As a wildlife biologist, I've been watching the ecosystem collapse. When you lose all your stream organisms, when you have aluminum overload in your streams, you're killing your microbial bacteria, and you're disrupting the entire ecosystem. So it goes way beyond just a little bit of pollution. How did Monsanto know to create aluminum-resistant plants? I don't think I've heard anybody ask that question. Okay.
Insects. I've done studies in Siskiyou County. They're at 20% of normal. The aquatic insects basically made a nosedive in 2006 to about 20% of normal. So far this year, I've sampled 200 trout stomachs. 98% of them are empty. So sorry about the trout fishing, fellows. The mayflies, stoneflies, dipterus, and caddisflies are damn near gone. The terrestrial sampling is down to about 20% of normal, except for pest species like ants. We're seeing a loss of major bird species, and as the gentleman said, the ecosystem is unraveling, and Audubon's been telling me that for years.
The materials that are going into the environment right now, aluminum oxide nanoparticles and barium nanoparticles, these just happen to be the same materials that they use in nanothermate explosives. And so when this stuff settles down out of the air into the environment, it is small enough to be absorbed through the root structure of the trees in the forest. And so when there's a forest fire, and there will be a forest fire, those fires burn dramatically hotter.